The old, disheveled porter, slightly hungover, cursed and spat when he saw the trash cans waiting for him outside the door, the same damn trash cans he'd been fetching all year and dumping into his big burlap bag. But on this morning, the cans contained the leftover leaves and tattered tinsel and broken bulbs of somebody else's Christmas, and also several bottles of bourbon and scotch, but not a drop for him. So he cursed and picked up a can and hurled its contents into his big burlap bag, listening to the clang the bottles made, and then he swung the bag over his shoulder, continuing down the steps, banging into the banister, not caring that the noise he made at 7 o'clock in the morning might wake up the people who slept beyond those doors and those trash cans. He did not care because he was sure they did not not care enough to give him a buck or two or a bottle. And so he had to drink cheap stale wine on Christmas night in the basement of this brownstone. And now he stumbled a bit on the steps as he carried the big bag over his shoulder. He was a grotesque Santa, moving slowly toward the incinerator that would later smoke up the chimneys with the trash of Christmas, chimneys that towered without dignity in the city and in other cities all over America, serving as silent functionary funnels, taking it all, demanding nothing, causing no scene until they could digest no more of the dirty diet. But then they would fume again against the sky, like the porter on this morning at 7 o'clock, and like thousands of others like him, those who clean up after Christmas, those who deck the halls with holly, then disappear, those who are present but unaccounted for.
National Educational Television presents At Issue, a weekly commentary on events and people in the news. This week, At Issue looks at the unseen Christmas. Commentator is Gay Talese, writer for the New York Times and author of New York, A Serendipiter's Journey.
I was awakened this morning by the sound of the passing porter. I do not know his name, only occasionally do I hear him. He seems to symbolize each Christmas that large, lonely, anonymous society of uninvited people. He is among those who look forward to Christmas with desperate hope, but suspects that it will fail him, and he is usually right. He is a kind of reverse Santa Claus. He brings nothing, only takes away. But maybe he is better off than those equally lonely people who are hired to fake merriment, those Santa Clauses who line the sidewalk ringing bells to keep warm, wishing all a Merry Christmas. Before doing so, however, they get a lecture on how to behave from the volunteers official, Major Bert A. Noble.
The weather outside this morning is pretty rough. It's snowing, the wind's blowing, raining. But this doesn't matter, boys. Remember, when you're out there, you're a street corner Santa. And as a man acting in that capacity, you've got to smile. I don't care if a boy comes along and pulls your beard down to your chin, or your beard down to your knees and lets it go and hits you in the chin. Remember, Santa is pleasant and courteous at all times. And you'll notice that we kind of emphasize this because it's mighty important. We attract attention by letting people there. Here, ring this bell loud and clear. We keep working with the bell. Now, don't pound it steady because you break the cadence once in a while. It'll attract people to you. Don't just keep on ramming it, but don't stand out there and just tingle it. Let's ring the bell. Let's work the bell. Keep your bell going. Now, this chimney that you've got, keep to the side of it. Don't stand in front of it. People are not going to reach around you to put money in the box. Stand beside it. Together you make a whale of a team. Separate, neither one of you are worth a nickel. So work with the box the way you should. Stand beside it. Stay with it. Wait for your relief man who will relieve you. You're relieved so that you can have your breaks that you need. Give special attention to your uniforms. Now, we wash them and clean them and have them nice, and your beards are nice, and we do the best we can to keep you looking presentable. When you go to eat, make sure that you get in front of a mirror and you get your whiskers back on the way they belong, your chin piece in place. This is mighty important, that you look like Santa. So try to look in a mirror when you're coming back from having your lunch. Keep your breath clean. Let's lay off the garlic and onions. None of these women are going to let you talk to their children if you chloroform them with onions first, are they? So lay off the garlic and lay off that. I'll have some here for you Saturday night so you can have them over the weekend, okay, fellas? But lay off them. Be patient with little children. Now, sometimes you can't understand these little children when they come up to you. But you must be patient and listen. Don't try to turn away from them. Listen to the children. Be patient with them. Don't promise children that they'll receive gifts they ask for. Send them away hopeful and happy. How are you going to do this? The easiest way in the world is to tell them to be good, and Santa will say, you know, they might ask for something Mama can't afford to buy. Or they might ask for a gift that would be bad for them, living in a bad neighborhood, and ask for a bicycle where Mom and Dad might be afraid they get hurt. So don't put them in the middle, and don't put yourself in the middle. Just say, you be good, behave yourself, and Santa will see. This way nobody gets in trouble. Don't become over-familiar with children or adults. Never kiss a child. Turn your cheek if they come to kiss you. And boys, you're not Casanova. If a good-looking chick comes down the street, she sticks out her hand to shake hands with you, don't hang on to her arm. She smiles real pretty. She's not seeing you, she's seeing that uniform. She can't see underneath the uniform. So we're none of us Casanovas or we'd be in the movies, right? Don't engage in any kind of an argument or a dispute. There are Scrooges in the world, as you know. There are these kind of people who don't believe in any sort of Christmas. They're not interested in helping anybody else. And remember, fellas, now this is something you've got to remember. All year long, we've all got our hand out asking somebody else to help us. But this is our season to get even, isn't it? This is the time of the year when you are helping somebody else. Because I want you to remember, while you're out there doing the job you're doing, you're seeing that some family has a Christmas dinner, that some of these meals that are put in here in the tabernacle, and I know a lot of you boys have had the Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners here, and you know they're good, aren't they? All right, then you're helping to pay that bill, so you can feel mighty good. This is the only time of the year that you have a chance to help somebody else. Ought to make you feel real good, does it? Sure does, doesn't it?
What is the sad history of these Santas? Were they always defeated men? The answer is no. Once many of them were men of pride and power. Some of them were engineers, teachers, lawyers. There is also a former theater organist, a submarine skipper, and a circus sword swallower among them this season. There is also a former television star among them, a man named Hal Conklin, who used to earn $450 a week playing the mad scientist on the Captain Video show. But he, like the other Santas, began to drink, and later he was taken in by the Volunteers of America, and today he is a leader in that organization, and also a teetotaler, and now, in a quite different role, he is back on television.
Well, you see, this was a 5-day-a-week program. Mm-hmm. I had to learn a new part every single day. I got up at 6:30 in the morning, and I started to study until rehearsal time. Then we went through the rehearsals and camera rehearsal and the show. And I thought I had to have a drink. I used to drink brandy and milk in the morning to start off with. So over a period of time, I was gradually becoming an alcoholic, and I realized that I was, but I couldn't stop. And I finally ended up down here in the Bowery without a nickel in my pocket. And a friend of mine suggested that I try the Volunteers of America. So one morning I was outside here in the line, I needed to shave, and I had the shakes. And they very kindly took me in and gave me a job as a storeman. These men, as Major said a little while ago, Major Noble, mm-hmm. They wait all year for this job, And the change in these men, as an actor sits and puts his makeup on,
Yes.
from the time they walk in this door past me and come upstairs again, and after they're dressed for the women and walk over with those beards, they're different men like that. You can feel it. It's mental.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
have a prop, don't they?
They have a prop, and they feel it.
Dallas, Christmas 1963. It's a busy day at Neiman Marcus. Here on sale are the needs of modern man, the bare essentials of life, a his and her submarine. The cost, $18,700. Here too is an expensive cowboy hat, trimmed in rhinestone, for dogs. And a stay-at-home golf course. Only cost $2,000. And your own television studio. You can record and play back pictures for your own home television camera and your own home television studio. You can establish your own ratings. You can be a star. And here is the most expensive piece of real estate in the world, a square foot of jewelry costing $100,000. It is a jeweled desert. It has trees of diamonds and jade, a donkey with an emerald shawl. It has a cart with bronze diamond hubcaps. Neiman Marcus has the only one of these jeweled deserts in the world, and it only has one in stock. But there is never any doubt in that store that they will sell it. Everything will eventually sell, says the man at Neiman Marcus. Christmas, for most people, is the season of good eating, and the ballrooms of hotels shimmer with scenes of great feasts, flare with flambe, resound with long-winded speeches. But hours before the banquet begins, there is activity in the kitchen below. There, working quietly, are the undiscovered artists. All of them are specialists. Later, the army of waiters will assemble in the ballroom for final orders before the attack. The general will speak.
The dessert is Christmas log Americana, which is a type of baked Alaska filled with chocolate ice cream, a white coating, and some Christmas decorations on there. Brandy cherries Jubilee, serve flambe. Now we're going to set up 2 flambe tables right here in the middle of the dance floor. And you take your ice cream in your right hands and your cherries in your left hands, and you come from the pantry, walk right across the dance floor, past the flambe tables. You get a spoonful of burning liquid on your cherries, and then you walk right into your stations and start serving. After that, we'll use finger bowls, and we'll serve large coffee tonight. Mr. Zucconi, please take over.
All right, gentlemen. Ice up, fruit up. That's it.
Outside, along the avenues, the sidewalk sentries patrol the curb, their eyes alert for cabs and tips. They are patient men and discreet. They see and hear more than discretion will ever permit them to admit. They would make wonderful spies. Maybe they are spies. But sometimes, for a fee, they will talk.
At Christmas, the tellers come down and each give you an envelope. Wish you a Merry Christmas. And they've been very nice, especially to the doormen and to all the help that's in the building, porters and maintenance men and all that.
Now, do all of the tenants give you something?
Well, I wouldn't say all, but most of them do. Most of them do. Well, you see, some of them don't give you money. Some will give you a couple of bottles of whiskey or a couple of shirts or cufflinks. But most of them give you money.
What do you prefer? Do you like the personal gifts or?
I prefer the money better.
Do you think that tenants feel that they have to give tips at Christmas?
No,
or?
They don't have to give a tip. If they don't want to, they don't have to. But there isn't any tenant would pass a doorman up at Christmas time without giving you something. See?
Let me ask you something a bit personal. Can you give me a rough idea of how much you get in tips at Christmas time?
Well, I'll say about $1,000 to $1,200.
$1,000 to $1,200?
Dollars, you know.
That's pretty good.
It's very good.
Do you find that you tip other people more at Christmas time?
Do I tip other people more? Well, no. I either buy them a carton of cigarettes to who I know, or a bottle of whiskey to, but I never give any money to them. To who I know, fellas that I know, I just give them, as I said, I just give them a bottle of whiskey and a carton of cigarettes.
One of the familiar sounds of Christmas is the ringing of the telephone. And when it doesn't ring, the desperate people, the really desperate ones, telephone the operator and hope to talk to her, anybody. Has it happened to you?
Yes, it has happened. You acknowledge and you get a customer operator and they'll just go on with the conversation. And you talk and you listen. And then you might ask, sir, do you want to place a call? No. You return them the money and they go on about the business. I guess that makes them feel a little better.
Yet, in a big city each Christmas, hundreds of people are alone, and each night the city streets are shadowed by the solitary silhouettes of the uninvited. People with nowhere to go, nobody to talk to, nothing to do. Elsewhere, equally alone, are the city's aging bachelors, shy spinsters, widows and widowers, its admin without agencies, writers without words, debutantes without dates, actresses without parts. They are in neighborhoods without neighbors, and each evening they take walks or drink whiskey or try to read themselves to sleep or try to jump out of windows or watch the Late Late Show until their eyes are bloodshot and their bodies numb. Well, at least the children have no such problem. They are at that age when they do not demand the whole story, do not know that the Santa in Gimbals is really an actor who regards the Santa job as a gift in the slack season. But it is a tough job playing this role, and the Santa at Gimbals, a man named Charles Reynolds, who's played on Broadway, has only one wish each Christmas, a hit show that will enable him to escape the Santa role. In a Harlem department store is a Negro Santa named William Cantlin. He knows that it is not always possible in a poor neighborhood for children's wishes to be fulfilled, but he listens patiently to their dreams, and he nods and he listens and he smiles and he listens, and he never lets on. Well, now that Christmas is over, how do you feel?
Well, I think first I feel a little bit tired. It's been quite a long season. And then I feel a little bit let down now that the season is over and Christmas is past. How do you feel, Bill?
Well, Charlie, I feel about the same way.
I mean, you sort of identify with the role, or what?
Well, I think you do. I think in any role you play, you identify with it while you're doing it. And remember, for 5 weeks, I've been playing Santa Claus and looking forward to the end of the season. It's sort of like a football player who primes himself for the final game, and he finally gets to it and he wins, and the season's over, and he's all enthused about it, but then a couple of days later he starts looking back and he thinks, well, I've got to wait now until next October before I can play football again. See, I have to wait until next Thanksgiving until I start playing Santa Claus again.
Do you sort of lose yourself in your role as Santa Claus? I mean, do you lose that part of Charles Reynolds? Do you forget your own problems and become...
Oh, yes, I do, I know. When I'm sitting there talking to the children, why, I don't have time to think of any other problems. I imagine that just about every Santa Claus is the same way. Don't you feel that way, Bill?
Yes, they do. They have, I mean, it's something that you experience through life, and it's only comes once a year, and it's a great thrill too when you have the little ones sit on your lap, you know, and ask them what you like to have for Christmas or what you would like Santa to bring you for Christmas. What do you think about that, Charlie?
Well, you know, we're out there for about an hour at a time, and when we come in after that hour of talking to children, sometimes as many as 150 children in an hour. Why, you come in and you take the beard and the wig off and you wipe the perspiration off your brow and you sit there and light up a cigarette and you sort of think back over that last hour and the problems the children have had and about what toys they should ask for and whether they were going to receive them at Christmas or not. And you hope you've been able to solve their problems a little bit. And then I guess as you get dressed and go on home, why, maybe about halfway home you start thinking your problems a little bit. But then you're back in there again the next day, and
Yes.
your problems go away, and you're just trying to help the children.
Well, now that your stint as Santa Claus is all over, what are you going to do? What are your problems? Where will you work?
Well, actually, I'm very lucky in that I'm an actor, and as an actor, why, we always have problems of finding work. But I'm very lucky in that I have several jobs offered. I'll probably be doing a voiceover for an industrial show for the World's Fair here in New York City during January. And then in February and March, I'll be going down to Florida, which is a nice time to go to Florida. And I'll be there at a music carnival at West Palm Beach, where I've been the last 3 seasons. Then I come back to New York again in the spring, and I hope in the spring I'll probably pick up a television show here and there or something. And then in the summer, July and August, I'm directing all the musicals in Atlanta.
I see. How about you, William? What will you do next?
Well, I don't know exactly. I just recently got out of service, and I haven't planned my future as yet.
I see.
But I would like to take up electronics. I studied a little bit when I was in service, and that's what I really would like to take up now.
This was your first year in Harlem as a Santa Claus, wasn't it?
That's right. This is my first year in Harlem as a Santa Claus, right.
Tell me, I know probably you have white children as well as colored children come to you. Well, is there any difference in the way they respond to you?
No, there's no difference at all. I mean, the white children and also the colored children, why, they don't know the difference. They see a Santa Claus, and that's just it.
Well, do you work alone in this store?
No, there's another Santa Claus work with me.
Is he?
He's white Santa Claus.
Well, they certainly can see the difference there. Do they show any preference for one or the other?
Well, sometime, why, you know, some little kids are a little devilish once in a while, you know. And when we are changing shifts, in other words, when I'm relieving him, why, one kid would probably notice it, you know, and so he will come off the stand and come back in the dressing room and stay a couple of minutes, and then I'll go out. And you can see in the kid's eyes, you know, it's amazing. His eyes are, he said, "Oh, Mommy, here's another Santa Claus," you know. But for as the color, I don't think they don't know any difference. I mean, they say it was 2 Santa Claus. That's all they would say.
And what age do children notice the difference? I mean, when does it make a difference to them? When does prejudice begin, in your opinion?
Well, I'll say around the age of, I'll say from 8 and on up, sometime, and then sometime it's from 10 on up. They notice the difference.
Well, are you aware that sometimes the child that's talking to you and that's asking for certain gifts is from very, very poor parents, and what do you do as a Santa Claus, knowing that the parents are poor and possibly the gifts the child is asking for are not going to be delivered? How do you as a Santa Claus feel about this? I mean, you're sort of in a curious position, aren't you?
Well, I know it'll probably be a letdown to the kids, but the only thing to do is tell them that you would, if they be good, and you would be by to see them Christmas, and you would try to give them what they want for Christmas, knowing that they may not get what they want. But if you tell them that, I think they appreciate that a little bit. Even if they don't get nothing but a handkerchief or something, you have told them that that Santa will give them what they want for Christmas.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you. And so it is after each Christmas. It is a season of discarded trees, rumpled paper, cigarette butts in the hall left by the hungover porter. And after all the trees are carried off the sidewalk and shipped up the river by barge to the pits, they are burned. Christmas is, as the junkmen say, a god-awful time. What is more useless than a second-hand Christmas tree, they ask? What's so good about them? For now they will fume against the sky like the chimneys, and like the porter, and like thousands of others like him, those who clean up after Christmas, those who deck the halls with holly, then disappear, those who are present but unaccounted for.
Next week, At Issue will originate in Washington, D.C. to examine the Senate and Politics 1964 with Senator Eugene McCarthy, Democrat of Minnesota, and Senator John Sherman Cooper, Republican of Kentucky. Both prominently mentioned as vice presidential possibilities for next year. Commentator will be Sidney Hyman, political historian and author of The American President. The Senate and Politics 1964, next week on At Issue. This is NET, National Educational Television.